All right, folks, we're going to talk about two victories, political victories for crypto, and Uniswap's warning to the US President Joe Biden about the election. We're also going to talk about how good old Joe denied Chinese Bitcoin miners to set up near a US nuclear base. But we'll actually go for this first. So, Senators Loomis and Whedon opposed Justice Department stance on Tornado Cash. Tornado Cash is obviously a mixer. We talked about this earlier in the stream. They are going after all mixers, but the Senate disagrees. And I think they'll get all the Republican support and probably a couple of Democrats as well, just like the last bill does. But they're not opposing Joe Biden right now. They're opposing the Justice Department at this point. If the Justice Department prevails in the case against cryptocurrency mixer, internet service providers and the post office may also be liable to transmitter requirements. So they're trying to pull everything else into this as well. So they can't just target crypto, which is obviously a pretty good idea. So the Justice Department obviously wants more control over monetary transactions and communications. And the senators are saying, no, that's a bad idea. They've actually sent a full letter to the Justice Department. And basically they said, Dear General Garland, we write to express our grave concerns regarding the U.S. Department of Justice's recent policy arguments that dramatically expand the scope of the federal prohibition on operating an unlicensed money transmitting business. The DOJ's unprecedented interpretation of the statute in the context of non-custodial crypto asset software services contradicts the clear intent of Congress and the authoritative guidance of Department of Treasury's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, or FinCEN. FinCEN actually made rules before, and the DOJ is trying to supersede those rules, which might be pretty tough for the DOJ. The interpretation threatens to criminalize Americans offering non-custodial crypto asset software services. So basically, they're trying to they're still trying to criminalize writing code, and I think they're going to meet a lot of opposition from the Senate. So the Bank Secrecy Act and the Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Enforcement clearly define money transmission as the acceptance and transmission of currency and other forms of value. And the thing is, like, your money or crypto is never actually held in the wallet. It's actually still on the blockchain. The wallet is just an interface, so they don't touch your money. And that's where the argument comes from. So Bitcoins have a clear unilateral owner at all times, either a person or a group. At no point is the transfer transaction process is there uncertainty over the ownership resides. So just because you put it in Phantom does not mean Phantom owns your coins. Custody and control are therefore the logical touchstone of where acceptance and transmission occurs in Bitcoin and other crypto networks. So they're basically saying the wallets actually have nothing to do with it. And if the wallets were to do KYC AML, they would be impossible to operate. So the fact that we have several senators actually writing the DOJ on this is a big win already. So crypto advocacy groups filed a joint amicus brief in April with the Southern New York District making a similar argument. So Ron Whedon and I have sent a bipartisan letter to the DOJ urging it to drop this interpretation immediately. And I think if they fight in court, they probably won't actually win this. The DOJ will probably lose this as well. So it's not just a Democratic or a Republican thing. It is basically a bipartisan effort. And bipartisan efforts don't come around that easily these days because, it's so polarized, but they can actually get bipartisan agreement on some of these, anti-crypto rules to actually get rid of them. So I think Biden and others are going to face increased scrutiny to actually overturn some of these rules. So obviously this is still over Tornado Cash, but other mixers are in it as well. The other thing is the House finally did overturn the SEC's anti-crypto crypto guidance. This is SAB 121. This is the one that Joe Biden threatened to veto if they actually passed. But they got 21, not just one or two, but 21 senators, or not 20 senators, 21 congressmen to actually join the Republicans. So even though they don't have enough votes to override the veto, realistically, there's a lot of political pressure on both sides of the aisle. And just because 21 voted doesn't mean the others don't feel that way. A lot of them will just vote party line because of pressure. So I think SAB 121 will eventually go away. and banks will actually be allowed to hold crypto. Plus, banks want to be allowed to hold crypto because obviously there's a lot of money in it for them. So his threat to veto comes with a very big cost because obviously not everyone in the Democratic Party actually agrees with Joe Biden or really Gary Gensler and Elizabeth Warren on crypto. There's also a very concerted effort to push Elizabeth Warren out of Congress. And I think if she loses her Senate seat, this anti-crypto league will lose a lot of its power because I think a lot of it hinges on people like Elizabeth Warren and Brad Sherman. I think they're the ones calling the shots on Gary Gensler. And so this is another victory that we got like over 20 Democrats to actually side with the Republicans in repealing SAB 121. So this is not unexpected because there's a lot of like jobs in even Democratic jurisdictions that depend on crypto. So those congressmen probably don't want to see their districts suffer in terms of employment and good paying jobs. So that's nothing really that's surprising. The other thing is the Uniswap CEO and U.S. president warns the U.S. president to reverse course on cryptocurrency policies. In an election as hotly contested as this one, if you look at the recent polls, like in the general election, it's very, very close. A 1 or 2% swing could actually mean a lot. And that's probably enough crypto people to fully swing it in Donald Trump's favor if he keeps on doing these anti-crypto policies. And there are people like 53% of crypto investors are Democrats, and they might just stay home and not vote, or maybe even vote in favor of RFK or Donald Trump if Joe Biden keeps on pushing the anti-crypto agenda. So it is actually a threat in a hotly contested election. If this was not a hotly contested election, this wouldn't be as much of a threat. Like if you're in the cryptoverse, you might think like every crypto investor is far right, but those are the only ones that are like really immersed in like, the cults and stuff that are far right. A lot of the cryptocurrency investors are like well-to-do people. They don't really look at crypto Twitter or crypto YouTube or crypto Instagram. They just invest, like look at some of the news and then, pass on their day. Now, the people that have like $200 or $300 in crypto, they're probably not going to care too much, but I think there's a significant chunk, maybe just like 1 or 2% of the entire populace that could switch to voting for Trump or voting for RFK instead of voting for Biden, that it could actually swing the election. And Biden does have to be careful of that. There are political consequences of what he's doing. And I don't think there's that many anti-crypto people that will actually like solidify support for Biden just because he's going hard on crypto. I think Warren and Gensler are going to cost him votes. So he needs to actually pay attention. So Hayden Adams, the founder and CEO of decentralized exchange Uniswap, called on, and Uniswap is another target, called on United States President Joe Biden to consider how voters think about crypto when they encounter ballot boxes in November. I don't really know if there's that many people that's anti-crypto that would actually switch from R to D just because Biden is anti-crypto and Trump isn't, but I can see several the other way around. So yeah, I think if it's a really close election, it might actually swing the election over, and he does need to be careful of that. Adams claimed there was not too much time for President Biden to change the perception many crypto-focused voters had of his administration's policy on digital assets. According to Uniswap CEO, the U.S. president was making a miscalculation of assuming crypto would be irrelevant in the 2024 elections. And like I said, it would be if it wasn't that hotly contested. And allowing Senator Elizabeth Warren and the U.S. SEC to wage total war on technology. And like I said, Warren is the key player there, and I hope Deaton can actually unseat her. Republicans smell blood in the water and are turning hard towards crypto. And they're doing that because they don't really win on a lot of other policies. They're losing on abortion and gay marriage, obviously. So like those social issues are going against them. So they need something they can win on. And crypto is definitely something that they can actually win on. So yeah, he does need to be very, very careful of that. He should change his stance to be softer against cryptos. The other thing is Joe Biden did actually block a Chinese mining firm from setting up a mining operation near a U.S.-based nuclear missile silo. Now, I might be pro-crypto, but I actually think this is a really good idea. I mean, this is like a no-brainer that you just can't really allow like a Chinese company to set up right next to a U.S. nuclear silo. Because, there might definitely be some spying. And a lot of people, these like big executives that come over to try to start this stuff, they do have connections with the CCP, obviously. The government has to grant them permission. And they probably like picked this specific area because then they can actually get information on the U.S. nuclear silo and pass that information to the authorities back in China. That might be one of the reasons they even allowed him to come over to start this company. So Joe Biden got this one right. Shouldn't allow the Chinese company to buy land right next to a U.S. classified nuclear silo. They should have to take their Bitcoin mining somewhere else. A couple of people are saying like we shouldn't allow Chinese Bitcoin miners here altogether, and we should promote our own miners. I agree with that too. But, at least don't let them next to the nuclear silo. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe. Hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.